Welcome back to Marketing Essentials for Small Business, Module 3, Public Relations. In Module 3, we're going to talk about public relations and how networking, events, and community involvement ties into that. We're going to be talking about press releases, how to write them, as well as the new form of press release. We're going to talk about bad PR and how to deal with it, as well as monitoring your online reputation. There are several different definitions for public relations, and this is the one that I like best because it really describes how businesses should be using public relations. So the definition is using the news or business press to carry positive stories about your company or your products, cultivating a good relationship with local press representatives. So just how does this differ from advertising? Public relations is really the opposite of advertising. In advertising, you have to pay to get your message placed in a newspaper, TV, or radio spot, whereas in public relations, the article that features your company is not paid for. So the reporter, whether it's broadcast, print, or television, writes about or films your company as a result of information he or she has received and researched. This is something that I really learned the value of when I was marketing director at Cherry Lane Shopping Center. And it took a couple of years before I really saw the value in it. We were doing a charitable event at the shopping center, and we had so much press coverage. And it was after that event, when I did some evaluations, that I realized that if we had paid for that coverage, it would have been likely an additional $20,000 that we received out of doing just a good cause for an organization within the community. And not only did we end up achieving all of this great coverage, but it was typically on the front page or in really great spots where we normally wouldn't have an ad featured. So really an amazing thing. After that time, I really started tailoring the way we planned our events in order to utilize public relations to the greatest extent. And we really ended up getting a whole lot of not only free coverage, but in addition to that, we started to become known as a community partner. And there was a real good feeling behind that, where people in the community really had a great feeling about the business, about the shopping center, because the shopping center was always doing something to be involved in the community, to be part of it, and to help raise funds for different organizations within the community. So there really is a twofold benefit to that in that regard. Not only are you getting the free publicity, but you're getting that really great feeling of being that community partner as well. So publicity is more effective than advertising for several reasons. First of all, publicity is more cost effective than advertising. Even if it's not free, your expenses are generally quite low. Second, publicity has longer longevity than advertising. And most often, an article about your business is going to be remembered far longer than an ad, no matter how creative you are in your ad copy. If you were to open up your front door and see a newspaper lying on your front doorstep and it's a free community paper, there's a good chance a lot of people are going to toss that paper in the recycling bin, even 50% of the time, and they may not even see the ads that are placed within that free community edition. Whereas if you have reached the front page, which you'll only do with a banner ad if you're paying for it, and you will pay premium dollar for it as well. Not only that, quite often companies who have more advertising dollars at their disposal will book that front banner for, say, a year in advance. I remember when I was marketing director at Cherry Lane, it was often very hard to get on the front page because it was another company in town that had already bought up that spot. So quite difficult. However, a lot of the events that we put on, because I began to cater them to be charitable and really newsworthy events, we started getting right on the front page, covering most of that front page, usually with a large photograph, etc., that caught people's eye. So now when they're opening their doorstep, as long as I was doing something pretty different, pretty out there, pretty spectacular, and I thought outside the box to create a real story, then it was something that would catch people's eye. So now you pick up that paper on the front step, and whereas they may not see the ad hidden later on in the paper, usually before they throw it in the recycling bin, they are at least going to see that front page article, and they're going to decide whether or not it's worth opening the paper for. So publicity also does have a potential, having said that, to reach even a far wider audience than advertising generally does, depending on what you're doing. And if you can make it really newsworthy, sometimes your story might even get picked up by the national media, spreading the word about your business all over the country. Finally, and most important, publicity has greater credibility with the public than does advertising, and I can't stress this concept enough. Readers really feel that if an objective third-party magazine, a television station, or newspaper or radio is featuring your story, they must really be doing something worthwhile. And more than you shouting out your message to the crowd, they're really going to believe that. So it's definitely something to put to good use. So how can you generate these public relations opportunities? First of all, anything newsworthy that you do, company news. For myself, I will be generating my own press release on what I'm doing with BC Microbusiness and the Chamber Learning Network. I'm fairly new with BC Microbusiness and Chamber Learning Network. It's just something I started doing a couple of months ago, just in near the beginning of 2013. And before that, I have been working with small business owners. I've been putting on live seminars, doing some distance and some one-on-one training. And this is the first time I joined this organization. And I'm really excited about it because of the opportunity that it gives business owners to have some government-funded training. I think it is just a phenomenal thing. I want to spread the news, so not only can some of that be directed towards my courses, but just to help the other businesses in my community as well. So I'll be writing my own press release to send to the local newspapers, radio, to let other business owners in my community know about this incredible program. Now, of course, some of those people might take my course, to which there's a benefit to me, but it's also, whether or not they do, there's going to be some more top-of-mind awareness about my company. Hopefully they'll take a picture of me. What I normally suggest doing is send in your own picture with the press release. And it's going to create some more top-of-mind awareness. I'm going to be featured, hopefully, in the newspaper, possibly on the radio station, something that I will not be paying for. I don't have any plan myself on spending money on newspaper. As much as I do believe it has some great use for certain businesses, it's not something that's worked very well for this particular company of mine. It has worked well for me in the past when I was marketing director of a shopping center. It's worked for other businesses I've done some work for, but for my particular company, the experiments I've sort of done with some print advertising haven't been as successful as the things that I've done online. But, however, it's always good to be mentioned. It's always good for people to read your name. People are more interested in neat stories, and especially this is something that's going to affect a lot of small businesses. So even if the reader doesn't have their own small business, the chances of them having, a cousin or a sister or a business associate or someone, a friend that they know who has a small business is very high, and at least my name will be on the top of their minds. Networking is another really important piece, and a lot of people get lazy on this. I'm a chamber ambassador, and therefore I attend all of the business after business events in my community. I'm quite amazed that there isn't a better turnout to these because it is such an opportunity. Even within my industry, I'm surprised. There are several people within my community who do a lot of the similar services that I provide to companies, and I don't see them out at a lot of these. So you better believe, as long as I'm doing my job and networking at these events, when the companies and the people that I meet at the business after businesses think of marketing, my name is going to come first to their mind before someone that isn't in front of them all the time. Having become a chamber ambassador, just kind of, to be honest, gives me the kick in the pants to be there. It gives me the commitment to attend these events. If I wasn't a business ambassador, chances are, anytime one of these events took place, I usually have a lot on my plate, as do most of us these days. And in most cases, there would be something else that would take priority to going out. And I would probably say, I'll go next time. This time I got to get this done. I just don't have the luxury of saying that. As a chamber ambassador, I have to be at these events, and I get myself out there. So it really is the kick in the pants that I need. I do highly recommend that you get involved in that type of way. Anything that's going to really get you there. If you're the kind of person that just gets out to these anyway because you're a social butterfly and you don't have to force it, then great. But if you're like me, it's not a bad idea to take on a little responsibility like that. Anything that's just going to force you to have that commitment. Of course, there's other organizations besides the chamber. I happen to believe very much so in the chambers. So just message here is to get involved. As for events, now these are really huge for a lot of companies, and it really depends on what your company is as to what type of events that you have. I'm going to give you an example just based on the graphic that I used here. So here we've got a barbecue, and this just reminds me of a store, a natural store in town that puts on a barbecue every year for Earth Day. And on Earth Day, they do a small donation to a charity that helps the environment, which is great. And they collect money on each plastic bag and submit that. Now, they really don't make the most of this event, not to the extent that they could to really get some great PR. So at the moment, they actually are paying for the advertising for the event. If it was done just a little bit differently, they could actually really take this to the next level. If they did something at the event that was very interactive, very exciting, very out of the box, they get not only more attendance, but they could really raise some interest with the media. And instead of just giving away, free vegetarian hot dogs, they could really create a lot of oomph around this event and get some free press down there, because the press is always looking for an interesting story. And the interesting story is not always happening with the community. So you got to let them know what you've got going on. Community relations, even being part of, say, a ball team, having your company's logo on the shirt. Community relations involves any type of feel-good thing, sponsoring a grant or not just a grant, sorry, a scholarship, for instance, at a high school, these types of things. Charitable causes, now this can really be huge for running your events as well. So going back to when I was marketing director of Cherry Lane Shopping Center, I came up with a campaign because I was reading in the newspaper that Penticton Regional Hospital was trying to raise money for a mammography machine. And they were trying to raise a vast sum of money. And I can't remember what the mammography machine was. I mean, it was worth, I don't know if it was $1 million or what it was, but it was very huge, several $100,000 at least. And I was reading this in the newspaper, and I thought, you know what, this is an opportunity for us to not only get involved within the community, but to get some free press while we're at it. And to develop ourselves, really bring ourselves out as a community supporter. So I contacted the South Okanagan-Similkameen Medical Foundation, and I also contacted a couple of other businesses that I thought would be very complimentary. So I thought, if we host an event at the shopping center, we've got the venue. If I can get someone who might do some signage for us, and as the person who supplies signage, if they can donate that service, it's something that's going to cut our costs down. We involved a couple of other partners similar to that, and we sat down for a couple of meetings. I didn't know what I was going to do ahead of time, and we sat down for some brainstorming sessions. And out of that, it's mammography machine, of course, is to reduce breast cancer. I wanted something that was really out of the box, something we could really play with, have some fun with, that would garner a lot of publicity, just for the fact that it was so different. So what we came up with was a Buy a Bra campaign. I made t-shirts that had great big pink bras on the t-shirt. And these we were able to, again, we got a community partner on this. We got someone on board to give us the shirts for only $3 a piece, a silk screener. And we sold these for only $10 a piece, so it wasn't too bad. We asked for a donation of $10 to $20 on the shirts, so we usually at least got our $10. And all of the money raised, of course, went to the mammography machine. We also created stickers that were bright pink and had a bra on the sticker, and it said, I bought a bra to support women. The t-shirts with the great big pink bras also said, I bought a bra to support women. So this was a real conversation piece within the community. On the stickers, people were able to write their first name on the sticker, and these were placed on the mall tile. So all of the floor tile in the mall was completely covered with pink stickers. You absolutely could not miss it. Most people at some point, whether it's running into the bank, running to a service, or whether they're shopping, are going to make some entry into the shopping center. And so we made sure that these pink floor stickers were covered all over the mall floor. And it really created a ton of awareness. In addition, we went to an event that was happening at one of the sort of pub nightclubs in town, and I asked if we could go and sell our shirts at this nightclub. Well, as soon as you bring out a sort of crazy looking t-shirt, it's got a big pink bra on it, I could not grab people's 10s and 20s any faster than I could hand out these shirts, and it was just crazy. We made so much money just that night alone because everybody wanted to get in on it. You know how people are at something like that, and monkey see, monkey do, and everybody was wearing these shirts that night, so it created a ton of awareness. It raised a lot of money. And now you can just imagine what that did. That was such a story that we created. We were community partners. It was kind of out of the box, a little bit crazy, wearing pink bras everywhere. And we were on the front page of the newspaper several times in both our community newspapers, as well as a little neighboring community's newspaper. We were on both radio stations, and we even had the television come and interview us. So we had a lot of coverage for this event. I think if we had to add it up, we probably had $20,000 to $30,000 worth of advertising or in publicity, and we didn't pay for any of that. So a lot of fun event. It was, really positive thing just being part of the community too. So you're really going to get a lot more out of this than just the free publicity. It's going to be really rewarding for yourself. So think of different charitable causes that you could do. At the shopping center, I will give you another example just to help you brainstorm ways that you can utilize this for your business as well. The more ideas I put out, the more maybe you can just think of different things you can do. So we had a charity shopping night, and with the charity shopping night, I had an assistant in the office, and we wrote a letter to every single charity or nonprofit organization that we could find within our community. And we offered them the opportunity to sell wristbands for $5. The wristband was just a cheap little wristband that you give out at the water slides, and we were able to purchase them for a couple pennies each. We gave out a pamphlet with the wristband, and the wristband entitled people to special savings on one special shopping night. So it was called Charity Shopping Night. So they would come, and if they showed the wristband at different stores, they would get significant discounts at the stores for showing this wristband. This was a whopping success. Stores that evening were so jam-packed. It was amazing. We had door prizes from all of the stores, and this was just a huge event. So not only was this event huge for sales, but we also got a lot of publicity because we helped something like 60 organizations within our community. So you can imagine the feel-good response. As well, we had people going door to door on our behalf, asking people to come shop that night at our shopping center. So really, really an amazing thing. As for other events, they don't always have to be charitable causes, but if you can think outside of the box and just create something that's a little bit different, you will get free publicity even then. One of the events that I had at the shopping center, and this was just an opportunity for me to be able to do a lot working there, I went to the jewelry store within the center and I asked them to donate 19 cubic zirconias and 1 diamond. And they were more than willing to do this. They donated that, and I purchased a bunch of fake snow. And when I say a bunch, I mean a 10-foot by 10-foot area that was a couple of feet deep in fake snow. And we hid the 19 cubic zirconias and 1 dazzling diamond into this fake snow. And I called this event Diving for Diamonds. We did pay for some radio spots, but it was such a big news story that they also talked about it a lot because it was so much fun. They came down and covered the event. The newspaper picked up the event, and they were there taking pictures of the event, and this was huge. What happened was we had 20 contestants, so there was some ways that people had to qualify on the radio. That part was free. Once they qualified, those 20 contestants came down to the shopping center, and one by one, they got to dive into the pile of snow and find as many diamonds as they could find, then take those to the jewelry store and find out if it was a diamond or a cubic zirconia. So one lucky person actually won the diamond. And so, like I said, tons of free publicity. We did do our own advertising as well for the event leading up to it, but after the fact, we got a lot of publicity as well. So that's never a bad thing for any business. So again, if you're thinking of doing an event for your business, just think of something outside of the box. If you're having an event that is a really regular type of event and it just kind of has to be that way, because that's what business is. It's a trade show or something. Just think of something really outside the box that you could do at that event. If you have anything coming up to that extent, we can always chat about that, and maybe together we can put our brains together and do a little bit of brainstorming for you. As for public speaking and demonstrations, this is a tool that I love to utilize, and I encourage other people to do so. Let's say, for instance, you're a naturopath and you have a lot of expertise in different areas of health. Try to get in areas where you can be a free speaker. This is really going to get you in front of your public audience, and this is the type of thing that you can send a press release to a newspaper, to a radio station. It's something you can list on a lot of free event listings, because it's not something that you're doing just for profit. So public speaking really can raise a ton of awareness. Even if you are doing it as a paid gig, it can really be key for just generating a lot of publicity for you as well. So this is something that I definitely utilize, and it has really increased my business tremendously. Just getting out, getting in front of people, sharing the expertise, helping them with a few great tips has led to a lot of additional business for me. Putting on demonstrations as well. They can be cooking demonstrations if you're a caterer. If you were, say, for instance, a rental company that rented out do-it-yourself machinery for around the home and the yard, you could put on free demonstrations on how to do different types of weekend projects. And in so doing, not only will you increase your rentals, maybe a project that someone might not have thought of, might not have had the confidence to do, but after seeing your demonstration, they're more willing to do it. Not only is it going to increase your business, but you should be able to generate a little bit of free publicity with this as well. So again, what the public wants to hear is a good story, and good PR is the telling of a good story. The better the story, the better the acceptance by the public, and the better the public relations. So if the story is especially appealing to those that could be your clients, then you really have a PR home run. So in this case, it's communication with your target market that may or may not be very public. So what is your story? Is it likely diving for diamonds? Probably not, but I'm sure there's something that we can think of for your business that will create a story. And if you've got a story, chances are the newspaper is going to want to share it. So in the next video, we're going to talk about a press release, because how do you get your story out to the public? You create a press release. And so we're just going to go step by step on how to create a press release. So on to the next video.